Hi everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news as Ruben Amorim demands Rashford's exit ASAP. Should Man United let him go on loan or should they be waiting till the end of the month? We've got the latest news on that. Could today be Bryan Mbeumo, here we go, deal day. The Times are saying that the deal is essentially done. So when will we get the drop on that? Is it likely today? Hopefully it will be. Also updates on Antony, on Malacia, on Jadon Sancho and on the midfield as well. There's a bit of a myth going round about the midfield that we can buy a midfielder when we replace Eriksen. Doesn't make sense, but we'll delve into that a little bit more as well. A few other bits to get into as well and any questions you've got, but let's fly straight into it. We're going to talk about Marcus Rashford. Two major updates coming in this morning. First of all, we're going to start off with the Times, who are saying that Barcelona are preparing a loan offer for Marcus Rashford, even if they sign Nico Williams. Manchester United want a permanent move with the player valued at £40 million. Manchester United would demand a loan fee and Barcelona will have to bear the full salary of $325k a week if they loan him out. Sounds a little bit like you think you're in control, Manchester United there. I would love to see that loan deal happen. But also coming in from Ben Jacobs, Barcelona are considering a loan move for Rashford. Rashford has got no future at Old Trafford under Ruben Amorim, but United want 40 million. Remains to be seen whether they will sanction a loan. And I think what we can gather here is do you do this deal now or do you wait until the end of the window? And I'm going to ask that question of you and we'll do a poll in a moment. But it's very, very clear. You've got a manager that doesn't want this player anywhere near Carrington in a week and a half's time. But you've got a club going, we love money. We love money. And that is never going to work. So I sit here and say, loan him out. It's not even about Rashford. It's not even about Amorim. It's just common sense in a football world. You're going to say no and then say yes in 2 months. And in that period of those 2 months where you've said no, he's going to go on loan. You're going to get asked questions about it every day. You might have to use him. Is he on the bench for the Arsenal game? All this stuff. Basically January all over again. Why would you put yourself back in that position when you're going to be loaning him anyway? You're not selling him. He will not go anywhere else other than Barcelona. This is his dream and they won't give us 40 million quid. Barcelona can't afford him. He won't go anywhere else. There isn't anywhere else. So why would you go, no, we're not gonna do this now. We're gonna wait 2 months and try and sell him. It's just so obvious. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. But it's player power and you can't win every battle. You can't. So I'm asking you now, would you, Rashford, let's say Rashford, loan now, wait till end of August. Get your thoughts in on that. But I think you've got to follow the manager, haven't you? You have to follow the manager. The manager, Ruben Amorim, clearly doesn't want Rashford there. It's not breaking news. It's Slow Sports news. You know, we saw what happened in January. So Barcelona are in a position of power. Well, we're not sure whether we want him. We want Nico Williams. We will take him, but only on a loan deal to do you a favour. They're not there thinking about spending the money. You then got Man United going, yeah, we're not doing this unless you give us good money. And Barcelona are sort of like going, are you not listening? We're not giving you money. We'll take him from you on loan. We're not paying for him. And then you got United going, well, you can pay all his wages. No, well, you're not listening. We're not doing that either. We'll take him off your hands to solve a problem for you, but we're not paying you good money for him. And that's where the problem happens. You've got Ruben Amorim going, I just want him out. I understand that you want money, but you're not going to get it. I just want him out. And then you've got Marcus Rashford, I only want to go to Barcelona. So all the ingredients add up to, we pay half his wages to go to Barcelona. And anything better than that, I would say, is a great deal. But you don't wait till the end of August for that. If you're offering me Rashford on loan to Barcelona today, do it. Just do it, because then we don't get the entourage, we don't get the noise, we don't get the questions, we don't get the pretend that everyone's getting on well. Amorim doesn't have to be acting, Rashford doesn't have to act. we move forward as a football club. And I think fundamentally, I was looking at some of the comments after the show last night. It was a great show last night. I was looking at some of the comments. Vast majority, really, really good. A few people saying, you're negative. You're just so negative. No. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. But I'm not going to apologise for being concerned about this summer transfer window. And if you're happy about it, then I think that you reside in the world of not understanding summer transfer windows at Manchester United. We're not going to take a striker on the US tour. It's 4 weeks until the US tour. We take 5 or 6 weeks to do a deal. We're not even in talks with a striker. So already we're not going to have a striker for the pre-season. We may well be taking Rashford, Antony, Garnacho, Sancho on tour because we're not close to getting rid of them either. So you talk about negativity, you talk about patience, you talk about positivity. I've played the game. We've all played the game. We're not going to magic all of Amorim's signings in the next 2 weeks and all the sales in the next 2 weeks. It's not going to happen. This is Manchester United. We prioritise money over efficiency. The big mic drop here is that Liverpool and Man City, and to be fair, I don't want to talk about Man City. Pep Guardiola bought Rodri officially on the 4th of July or the 6th of July, before pre-season started. Erling Haaland before pre-season started. All these deals that they've just done before pre-season starts. All the deals they did in January, preparing them for next season. Man City are the masters at getting players in early. Liverpool are doing it as well. Why do you think that is? Why do you think Liverpool and Man City want to get their players in before the start of pre-season? Could it be because it prepares you for the season better to have all your players working together weeks before the start of the season? And Man United continually mess this up. So I'm not going to apologise for being negative about something that has negatively impacted every season we've had for a decade. Antony and Casemiro coming in after losses to Brentford and Brighton. Ugarte, De Ligt and Mazraoui not ready for the start of the season last year. Year after year after year, we do something that is so simple. It is the most simple system to a successful season that we ignore because we've got bean counter accountants in charge. If you get your players in early, you'll have a better season. If you get your players in late, you'll have a bad season. And we continually do it. So I look at this Rashford situation and I go, if my manager is up against it like Ruben Amorim is, and if my manager needs a very good pre-season and a very good start to the season, then I'm going to get deals done as quick as he wants them to get done. Ruben, what do you want to do with Rashford? Just get rid of him. What, even a loan to Barcelona? Well, unless you can tell me someone's going to give us actual money for him, why wouldn't you just get the loan deal done now? Yeah, but we look a bit weak doing that. Why do we look weak? Well, we don't get any money for it. Well, are you going to get any money for him? Well, we might wait till the end of August and get some. Oh, who? Is Harry Potter going to turn up with Luke Skywalker and offers a 90 million quid? Because that's fantasy, mate. Both of them. Oh, you thought Harry Potter was real? And you're running a football club? Get out. We need to get this deal. We need to get deals done quickly. What we need to do at this football club, right, is forget the name, forget the noise, and look at the list of the jobs you've got to do. It's like waking up in the morning, having your breakfast and writing a list of jobs. I've got to get petrol for the car. I've got to go and do the shopping. I've got to cut the grass. You know, all those things. Tick them off. I've got to sell Rashford. I've got to get rid of Rashford. I've got to get rid of Sancho. I've got to get rid of Antony. I've got to get rid of Malacia. I've got to get rid of Garnacho. I've got to get a striker. Yeah, just work through the list efficiently and quickly. And we just can't do it. We just can't do it. So look, 68% of you said that you would loan Rashford now. 32% of you say you'll wait till the end of August. I'd love to understand the 32% on why you wait until the end of August, because I can't see the positive. So I will list the negatives. If you wait till the end of August, Rashford's here for 2 months. If you wait till the end of August, he's there in the dressing room for 2 months. He's on the tour. He's on the pre-season. We're getting asked about him in every interview. Him and Amorim don't get on. It's not moving forwards, it's moving backwards. I can't see the positive of waiting until the end of August. Whereas the positives of getting him out now, you don't get any of those negatives. He's never at Carrington. He's not on the tour. We're not being asked about him. He's at Barcelona, happy, having a pre-season, playing in a good team, hopefully playing well, goes to the World Cup, next summer, value, sell. The sooner you get him out where he wants to be, the bigger value you'll get next summer, because he'll have a year left off his contract. And if he does well at Barcelona, they will want to keep him. What we need to remember as a football club is we've got no divine right to say we deserve more money for Marcus Rashford or we deserve more money for Garnacho. We created the situation. We gave him a stupid contract. We gave him stupid wages. This has happened with Antony. This has happened with many other players as well. If you give players stupid wages and they flop, you've got to cut your losses. You have to. And we haven't figured this out. We haven't figured this out because we still keep doing it. If you give players stupid wages and they don't perform, you're stuck. Simple as that. We need to firefight here. We need to do this deal quickly. It's in Rashford's interest to he will want to go to Barcelona soon. Barcelona will want him soon. We should just get on with that deal. Do I care if we pay half his wages? It's better than paying all of them. We're not going to get a transfer fee. This club is completely and utterly stupidly incompetent if they try and negotiate this for the next 2 months. Just get it done in the next 2 weeks. Show a bit of bloody intelligence. Get it done for the manager in the next 2 weeks. Never have him stepping back into Carrington. As Ben Jacobs said, as everybody knows, there is no future at Manchester United for Marcus Rashford. Move on. Move on as quick as you can. And I'd say the same about Garnacho. I'd say the same about Sancho. These are dramas you and I don't want. These are players that have gone in our heads. They're gone. Get them gone. ASAP. Rory C says, waiting doesn't mean he's involved with the first team. We cannot continue to bow down to whims of players. Take a stand, let him rot, set a precedent. How does that work, Rory? I appreciate it. How does that work? So you wait until the end of August. Why? On pure spite. We need to grow up as a football club. We can't be spiteful. We need to grow up. You keep him for the next 2 months. You're paying him 300 grand a week for 2 months. So that's £2.5 million to be spiteful. He doesn't get a pre-season, so he's rusty for the start of the season. And it also prevents us bringing other players in because we're paying £2.5 million to Marcus Rashford. I understand the point, but what point is it? Oh, stick Rashford in the reserves for 2 months to show him who's boss. Still goes at the end of the month. It still goes at the end of August. How's about get rid of him, move on and start building out and focus on ourselves. We're not in a position of power. We're shit. Let him go and build us. Simple as that. Waiting too long for a sale lowers his value. Waiting for 40 million we are unlikely to get is wasting time that could be used on the other deal. Best for everyone to move him on. I think the problem is, Patrick, Man United have got delusions of grandeur. They think that 40 million pounds for Marcus Rashford is a bargain, but they don't realise that he's been bad for 2 years and he's on stupid wages. So people don't see it as a bargain. Giving Rashford what he wants, player power wins. Gaz, we're not going to stop player power from winning. I get your point, but we're not going to stop it from winning. It will win in the end. So just get rid. Don't that entourage other players do the same. Let him play with the kids until we get an offer we want. Again, we won't get that offer. Loaning him is pushing the issue down the line, says Jacob. We can't sell him, Jacob. I get a running theme here that people just don't like the idea of him going to Barcelona on loan because he wins. But he will win anyway. There is no win for us. He won't go to Saudi or anywhere that will give us any money. So we put ourselves in this position. If you're angry, be angry with the idiots who gave him the contract in the first place. Sale only, let him find a club or not play, but he won't, says Sam. I think there's a lot of people sharing your opinion, Sam, but it's biting your nose off to spite your face. We can't afford to just keep him at the club for 2 months. We need to move on. And it goes back to what I was saying before. So we take Rashford on tour. We have to have all the press conferences. Amorim's meant to be having a pre-season to build a new team, not take all the shit there so that we can be spiteful and wait until the end of August. We need to move on. Do you think Rashford has a loan option? Is Barcelona's backup for Williams? Atletico want the release clause up front, not instalments, says Phil. I don't know. I don't actually think Barcelona are going to move very quick on Rashford anyway, if I'm being honest. Amorim should publicly say Barcelona don't want Rashford, says Keel. Morning, Mark. Tutto Sport reported today that Juventus will have a call with the United board. Alden, I'm actually going to talk about Sancho, so I'll come back to that. I think United have a lot of control in this situation, says Rory. Leverage the fact that Rashford departure to play, and he's more desperate about the World Cup. I don't think we've got any power in this situation. I really don't, Rory. It's great. Look, and I suppose that's the brilliance of conversation, community and democracy. Some people think, let's wait till the end of August. We've got the power. But then those same people are going to moan when we're not doing business. We need to, as I said last night, we need to sell to buy. So you're gonna make a football club that cuts 40 grand a year in charity payments. You think we can afford to pay £2.5 million in wages to Rashford to wait till the end of August? We cut 40 grand a year to a charity that deserves the money. And you think we'll be okay just paying £2.5 million in wages to somebody that's not part of our plans? Look, maybe I'm a realist. We need to sell to buy. Amorim needs a pre-season. He needs his players in. We are absolutely shit. We finished 15th and we're not in Europe. And yet some people are saying, no, let him rot in the reserves, wait till the end of August, then do what we would do now. He's going on loan to Barcelona, whether we like it or not. Just get it done and move on. All I'm interested in is a pre-season with the players that Amorim needs. And as I said to you a few minutes ago, Man City, Liverpool consistently get their players in early so that they're ready for pre-season, so that they're ready for the start of the season. I look at Man United, we're debating Rashford again, with no players in through the door, and it's very obvious that Amorim's not going to have players for pre-season, and they're going to polish a turd and talk about optimism, and we're going to hear very soon about how pre-season doesn't matter as well. It's mattered every bloody month that we've been having bad results since December to May. Guarantee you it's going to start coming out very soon that it doesn't actually matter if you've got pre-season. Amorim will be asked about it in his very first press conference. Does it concern you that you haven't got all the players in? Well, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that much because we've got till the end of August to do the window. They'll be spouting that shit again very, very soon. Sale only or reserves, not worth it for 150k in wages. He won't play at Barca. So no. Andy, where is this sale coming from? I'm not going to drop this. So many comments, sale or keep him. He's on 300 grand a week. What world are you living in, Andy? Sale or he's not going anywhere. Who do you think you are? Manchester United are on their arse and we've got fans going, sale or put him in the reserves. We're fucking broke. And you want to pay 300 grand a week for somebody to sit in the reserves? I just can't understand it. I can't understand it at times. We need to move on. Would you take Patrick Schick from Leverkusen? Oh, it just gets worse, Maliki. It's not good enough. No, it's not good enough, to be honest with you. How does downing Rashford solve our problems, isn't it? Okay, we're descending into stupidity here. Club does have power. Rashford's last World Cup, says Keel. Mate, he got picked for the England. He got picked by Tuchel in March, having been ridiculed by Amorim in January. I don't think waiting till the end of August is going to damage Marcus Rashford's World Cup campaign. He's in Tuchel's plans no matter what. So if that's your card, that's not going to be enough. Rashford himself might want to be at Barcelona for a pre-season, but it won't be the end of the world if United don't let it happen. He's got all the power. Some of you just can't realise that. Andrea says, haven't checked in for 2 weeks and the state of affairs is appalling. And Mbeumo's still not done. No one sold. Pre-season without new goalkeeper. This club makes me so embarrassed to be a supporter. And Ilya says, good morning, Mark. Sorry if this is a silly question, but has United completely lost interest in Nuno Mendes? Yeah, we'll move on from that. The club needs to... I mean, is that a genuine question or is that just... I want to ask the stupidest question of the day. Nuno Mendes, the best left-back in the world, arguably, still a target for Man United. Yeah. And after that, we're bringing in Vinicius Jr. and Mo Salah. The club needs to sell to buy. Loan makes no sense, says Mr. Armstrong. Oh, God. Can somebody start explaining to people why we can't sell Marcus Rashford? We need to sell to buy. Loan makes no sense. No one will buy him, mate. That's why we're talking about a loan. I tell you what, it's disappointing this morning how many of you do not actually understand the football club that you support. And I'm not being demeaning or anything like that. I don't know what you listen to that you think we're going to sell Marcus Rashford. £40 million for a player on 300 grand a week that nobody wants to buy. Barcelona would take him on loan as a favour, and you're talking about selling him. Where's the sale coming from? Where is this magic sale? I understand you going, we need to sell him. We bloody do need to sell him completely. But if you can't have a sale, what are you waiting for? There are time limits here. There is pre-season. There is a US tour. If he's not sold by July the 7th, he's walking into Carrington. Is this a good thing for Manchester United? No. No. We can't. You know what? You're making me sympathetic to the board of Man United because some of you are talking like the board. Well, we can't let him go on loan. We need to sell him. Where's the voice of reason? Who are you selling him to? Who wants to buy him? Nobody. Nobody wants to buy him. Why don't they want to buy Marcus Rashford? Because he's on 300 grand a week. Nobody can afford 300 grand a week. The only clubs that can afford 300 grand a week are the best clubs in the world, and they don't want him. So you loan him. Mark, shouldn't midfield and goalkeeper be higher than, or at least as essential as a striker, says Rajaf? No, striker's the most important position, surely, I would say. Do you think we're broke until the 1st of July, says Phil? I think we're broke full stop. We need to sell to buy. Simple as that. Talking about buys, let's move on, because that Rashford story has absolutely depressed me, to be honest with you. So let's talk about what a shit source is that? I wouldn't put that on a bloody UTD exclusive. Sometimes the sources you quote belong on a bloody bacon sandwich. The fuck? That's just regurgitated from Romano last night as well. Why are you giving sources off a bacon sandwich credit for a rehashed Romano story? If you're going to be an aggregator, please do the tier system. How many times? Have you noticed that as well? Have you noticed how certain journalists do it as well? They wait 2 days and then they rehash a Romano or an Ornstein story. Incredible. Incredible. Anyway, I want to talk to you just very briefly about Mbeumo. There was a bit of a breaking story coming out this morning about him. Funnily enough, UTD exclusive missed it. They missed it. It was on every other aggregator, to be fair, and it was from the Times, and it basically said that Manchester United have essentially agreed the terms. They've matched what they offered for Cunha, 62.5 million. So the terms of the deal are basically there and done for Mbeumo, and that's the report from the Times, that we've basically matched the Cunha deal. So if we've done that, why haven't we got the deal done? When is it going to happen? Could today be the deal day for Mbeumo? A lot of people are saying that, you know, if we've got the deal done. The honest answer is, I don't actually know when this Mbeumo deal is going to happen. Check when the away kit's coming out. That might be an indicator. Could it be July the 1st? What people need to remember is, as well, there's a lot of wrong analysis out there that Liverpool have done their business in June because they didn't spend last year, so they've got a lot of money left in June. Not necessarily true. Just because we've got Cunha, here we go, in June, doesn't mean we're not going to pay for it on July the 1st. Just because Liverpool have signed Wirtz and Frimpong and they're going to sign Kirkes doesn't mean that they're not going to register it after July the 1st. You can buy players in June in the sense of official, it's not official, here we go, but then the first payment doesn't happen until July and the registration doesn't happen until July. I think there's this confusion out there that, you know, well, United can't do any business till July the 1st because of the new financial year. You can. It's just, it's not about, you can have, here we go, on Gyökeres, Cunha, Mbeumo, Emi Martinez, Edison. You could buy 7 players, technically, in June, but not pay for any of them until the next financial year, because it's about when you officially register them and when you pay the first payment. I don't know. I don't think Cunha's going to get registered in this financial year. I think he's going to get registered in the next one. I'd be very surprised if he's getting registered in June. It will be in the next financial year, because if we register him in June, I think we'd probably go over PSR. So that's just something that's really important. Like, people think that the people are like, on July the 1st, everything's going to go off like a bottle of pop. We could have done deals in June. We could have had here we goes in June. We could have had sales in June. You just pay for them in July. It's simple as that. So I don't know why people, some people are saying, well, maybe we're going to wait till July the 1st for Mbeumo. We might wait till July the 1st for Mbeumo, but it doesn't mean we couldn't have had a here we go 2 weeks ago. We'd still pay for him in July. I think the reason that Mbeumo's not been done is because we're actually still negotiating. Brentford and Man United are not sat there going, let's pretend that we're negotiating until July the 1st and then we'll do that. I think we genuinely are still negotiating with Brentford over the instalments of the deal. And the interesting thing about Mbeumo is it's 3.5 weeks now since... Well, it's actually longer, but it's 3.5 weeks. So actually, I've got to apologise. It's longer than 3.5 weeks. I've been saying it's 3.5 weeks since David Ornstein did that Monday night. He wants to join Man United, and that's true. But it's not actually 3.5 weeks. It's about 4.5 weeks, maybe even 5 weeks since we started being linked to Mbeumo. We were talking about Mbeumo before that David Ornstein thing. So Cunha was about the middle to the end, late April, definitely. Didn't get here we go until June. So we're talking about, again, minimum 5-6 weeks before we can get a deal done from the start. And we're not even talking to a striker at the moment. So, it's... my point is, I don't think July the 1st is going to be the magic, beans that everyone thinks it's going to be. I think we genuinely are working very, very slow on deals. Alpha says, Rashford wants Barca and they'll only pay half. He can go for wages they pay and we won't cover the rest, except reduce wage for a year and make dream moves, says Alpha Zoo. Yeah, I mean, the trouble with that, Alpha, is, again, you're negotiating. And I think some people are obviously very resolute that we shouldn't give Rashford what he wants. But if we don't give him what he wants, we're negotiating. And if we're negotiating, he's in the pre-season. And if he's in the pre-season, it's toxic. And that damages the club. So I don't want to negotiate on anything. Just get the loan deal done and get him out. It's better for Amorim. It's better for Man United. It's better for him. I don't want to negotiate. And if we negotiate with Barcelona, by the way, if we sit there negotiating with Barcelona for 2 months, that's work we could be doing on something else. Man United are slow. Man United are crap at doing more than one deal at once. So if you want to spend 2 months negotiating with Barcelona on Rashford, that's going to take you away from signing players. That's going to take you away from selling players. It's not efficient. It's not what's best for the football club. It's too slow. If we don't sign a striker, would you play Xerxes there? Oh, Dylan. What, Dylan, I respect, but why kick a man when he's down? It's like being promised lasagna for tea, and then Mrs. Goldbridge saying, "If you don't have lasagna tonight, do you fancy a slice of toast?" I'm like, I want lasagna. Why should I put up with shit? And Xerxes not shit, but what I'm saying is, we need a bloody striker. We finished 15th in the league. I don't want Xerxes up front, no. I like him as a 10. I don't want Xerxes as the striker for Man United, no. That is not progress. That is papering the cracks. That is cheap. That is a shit choice. No. I don't want Xerxes and Rasmus as the striking options next year. I want a striker. I don't care whether it's Rasmus and a new striker and Xerxes, or it's Rasmus gets sold and it's Xerxes and a new striker, but I want a new striker at Man United. I cannot put up with, it's like pre-season Pereira, isn't it? Pre-season Pirlo. Oh, Xerxes scored a couple of goals against West Ham in the United States. He's going to score 50 goals in the Premier League next year. The thing I've learnt about football over the years is pre-season is hype. Transfer windows are hype. Reality is what you learn week in, week out. And what we learned last year, week in, week out, is that Xerxes is not a striker. He's not a striker that's going to lead the line at Man United. Not mobile enough, not clever enough in the 6-yard box. He's a link-up player. He's got a lovely touch. He's got a lovely dribbling ability, but he is not a striker. And it's like saying, we're not even being negative to Xerxes here. I don't want to sell Xerxes. I want to keep him. I like him as a 10. But it's like putting Bruno Fernandes as a holding midfielder. I don't want him to be our holding midfielder because he's not a holding midfielder, but he's our best player. Just saw a here we go on Cardosa from Betis to Atletico. Could this mean Antony's gone soon now that they have some cash? I hope so, Daniel. There is an update on Antony, actually, which just sort of feeds in nicely to where we are at the moment. So basically, with Antony, the problem is, and this is coming in from The Athletic, Antony is thought to be the closest to an exit out of Manchester United. The question has always been how high Betis can afford to go. So even though Antony is logically quite a straightforward sale to do, he's problematic because the club that he probably wants to play at can't actually afford him. So, I mean, I don't know what's happened to the Atletico Madrid interest. I don't know what's happened to the Juventus interest. I mean, Antony actually had an incredible 6 months, half a season. Like, he should be so easy to get rid of. And yet, here we are at the back end of June, and it's not easy at the moment, is it? So I'm hoping that Antony will go, but you know what? I'd rather Antony wanted to go to Atletico Madrid and they just go, there's the 30 million, than I want to go to Betis, but they can't afford me. And then again, it's the same as Rashford. If we've got to negotiate with Betis for the next month, that means Antony goes on tour. That means, you know, you just don't want this. That means we're wasting resources negotiating with Betis. The problem with all these players that we need to get rid of is it's time. And we need to cut that time down because we don't have infinite resources. I mean, Sir Jim Radcliffe sacked half our workforce, by the way. So to anybody that thinks we've got enough people to work on multiple deals, we didn't have enough people to work on multiple deals 2 years ago. We definitely don't have them now. So negotiating with Betis on Antony, negotiating with Barca on Rashford, negotiating with Juventus and Fenerbahce and Sancho. How long are we negotiating on these? How much time does that take? If we weren't negotiating on them, we could be trying to get an Onana out. We could be trying to get a goalkeeper in. We could be getting a striker in. And I just see United at the moment getting swamped because nothing is easy. Even Antony, which should be the most easiest deal ever, looks like it's going to take a lot of negotiating because Betis can't afford him. And we're just getting swamped. We're drowning ourselves in volume of work that's slowing us down on everything else. And we don't have a lot of staff for that area. We simply don't. So it's going to slow us down. And hopefully Betis can just pay the money. Another player, though, interestingly, in The Athletic, just very, very quickly, United are also struggling to drum up suitors for Malacia. Spent the second half of last season, obviously, at PSV. But there is no interest in him at all at the moment, Malacia. And I don't know, I mean, he can't have that long left on his contract. Let's have a quick look. But he's another one rocking into Carrington with a smile. This year's Donny van der Beek or Andreas Pereira. Yeah, his contract's up in a year. So he's another one that's probably just going to be hanging around Old Trafford for a year. I've got nothing against Malacia. But it's just, he is just going to be another player that's training with us for a year, running his contract down, who has got no future at the football club at all. It's my birthday, says TJ. Happy birthday, mate. It would make my day if we could get Rashford out on loan rather than keeping him here and paying his wages. We need a striker. Happy birthday, mate. Hope you have a good one. Suraj says, we have to take a hit with players like Antony, Sancho, Rashford, Casemiro. Reason, crazy salaries. Solution, salary cap for new players. In 2 or 3 seasons, we'll be in a better position. Let's do it, says Keel, in relation to the loan. Robert McCormack says, last summer, if you'd said Rashford and Garnacho out for Mbeumo and Cunha, you'd have been locked up. I hope one season of good and bad doesn't ruin us in the long term, says Robert. It's a fair point. It is a fair point. There's no guarantee that in a year's time, Marcus Rashford hasn't had a good season for Barca and Garnacho's not tearing it up somewhere else, and Mbeumo and Cunha are flopped. I mean, hopefully that won't happen. I agree with what we're doing. I mean, Garnacho does need to go, Rashford does need to go, and Mbeumo and Cunha are good signings, but Man United can be a graveyard for good players. Rashford wants Barca and they'll only pay half. We've done that one from Alpha Zoo Adventures, I think. Thank you very much for that. What positions do you think United will definitely sign in, says Ilya? I think from this point, Mbeumo will sign. And beyond that, definitely, I wouldn't say definitely anything. I'd like to say striker. I'm 90% sure we will get a striker in, but I wouldn't say definitely with this board. I wouldn't say definitely a midfielder. I wouldn't say definitely a goalkeeper. And I'm not even going to say definitely a striker. I am seriously worried about what I said last night. We will not have a striker for the US tour. It's 4 weeks away, and we haven't even started talking to a striker, and we don't do deals in 4 weeks. So if we're not going to have a striker for the US tour, what chance we've got a striker for the Arsenal game? And if we haven't got a striker for the Arsenal game and we start off the season okay, we might just go, let's not bother with a striker. That is starting to worry me a little bit. I still think there's a very high chance that we'll sign a striker. But if you haven't got one for pre-season and you haven't got one for the first game of the season, then what price United go, maybe we don't need one. Hi Mark, been here since the holidays. Your videos helped me get through many difficult times. I've recently got married, but probably heard your voice more than my wife's these past years. Keep it up. Andre, thank you for being a fantastic member of this fantastic community. I really appreciate it. Thank you for that from Ilya. Marcus says, very happy with the 2 number 10 signings, but the major issue is a goalkeeper and a striker. Our player of the season was actually our number 10. Are we moving Bruno back then? We need 2 wing backs as well, says Marcus. I think whatever happens, we're not going to fulfill what we need this summer. You're right. We need more than a striker, a goalkeeper, and 2 number 10s. But for a first summer, we were never going to do everything, I suppose. Certainly not with this board. I think Betis, Rory C mentioned that as well. They can't plead poverty now, Betis, says Rory C. They've just sold Johnny Cardosa. They've got to pay up now if they want him. And John says, the Glazers and Ineos are winning. Talks of keeping the goalkeeper or using Xerxes as striker are creeping in. We finished 15th, not 5th. This squad needs help, says John. You know what I think it is? Lethargy and out of sight, out of mind. As we spoke about last night, there's people in the fan base who are saying that what we're talking about is negative and they want positivity. If you want positivity, go and watch Mamma Mia on DVD or stream it. If you want reality, listen to this community. Like, there's nothing to be positive about. As was just said there, we finished 15th in the league. Our worst ever Premier League points total. We lost to Spurs in a cup final. We've bought 1 player, and it's nearly the end of June. We've sold nobody. And there's a massive pile of shit that was meant to get rid of. Where we are at the moment, we are not going to have the players that Amorim needs for pre-season. It would be a miracle to have players in for pre-season beyond Cunha and Mbeumo. It will be a miracle if he doesn't turn up for pre-season training and have some of the shit players he doesn't want there. The US tour is going to end up being a PR tour again, like it was last year. Liverpool, last season, didn't buy players because Arne Slot was going to work with the players that he had. They won every game on pre-season, and every game in pre-season they played well, learning the system that Slot wanted to play. They then won their first 3 games of the Premier League season without conceding a goal, and they won 10 out of their first 11 Premier League games. They had a good pre-season, and it went into the season. What happened with Man United? We had a shit pre-season. We didn't get our signings in early. We sacked our manager in October. There's a contrast, and I don't know why. Unfortunately, we're being run by accountants and not football people, because the obvious correlation between a good pre-season and a good season is so clear, and we ignore it every year to save money. So it's not negativity; it's a reality. We won't have a striker for pre-season. It's so obvious. Dazzo says, you said at the start you can't win every battle when it comes to Rashford, but why do we have to lose every battle when it comes to player sales? We lose every time because of who's in charge, mate. If you were in charge, it'd be a different story. Got a loan Rashford now, says Steve Woodley. He could do an Antony and up his value. Thank you very much. Daniel's just mentioned that here we go from Betis as well. Just on the midfield, I'm going to talk about Sancho, but just on the midfielder, there's a few people sort of saying that we're going to buy a midfielder because Eriksen's going. That is not the reason. I don't really get this, right? We're not replacing Eriksen. There's people there that go, we'll buy a midfielder to replace Eriksen. Eriksen wasn't seen as a first team player. Eriksen was a squad filler. We're not going to replace Eriksen with a first team midfielder. We can't afford it. Our roster in the midfield is stacked. Collier, Mainu, Casemiro, Agate, Bruno for 2 positions. So Eriksen, there's people out there that think Eriksen going creates a space in the midfield. We're not in Europe. A lot of the time we're going to play once a week, and we've got 5 midfielders that can play in 2 positions. We're not replacing Eriksen with an Edison or a Paulinho or the lad from Club Brugge. That is not the plan. And I don't know why people start putting it out there, because it's dangerous. The plan is not to replace Eriksen with a top midfielder. If we want a top midfielder, Amorim has got to sell to buy. So Casemiro or Mainu or Bruno or Agate or Collier, one of those have got to go to bring another midfielder in. Eriksen's not the player that's going to be replaced. Eriksen is just a money saver, save his wages, pay a bit of debt off. We're not replacing Eriksen. That's not part of the plan. And the reason I mention it is I think most of you know that, but there are people out there that think we're replacing Eriksen. We're not replacing Eriksen. He's not seen. We're not replacing Lindelof. They are just money savers. And it's probably not a bad idea because the squad is big. So Eriksen and Lindelof are seen as wastage. They're cut from the squad. We save a little bit of money. We don't need to replace Lindelof and Eriksen. Lindelof at the back doesn't need to be replaced. You've got Maguire, you've got Heaven, you've got Martinez, you've got Yoro, you've got De Ligt, you've got Mazraoui, you've got Luke Shaw for 3 positions. So we're not replacing Lindelof and we're not replacing Eriksen. So if we get a midfielder, it will be because Casemiro or somebody else has gone. And obviously that means you've got to sell to buy again. YEL says, there's nearly been World War III and was busy with that news for 2 weeks. Now I checked United and we're still in exactly the same position. Ins and outs, it's shocking. Thank you very much, pal. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Merck. Heard something a few days ago about Onana in Monaco. Any truth? There's no truth in it, Dylan. Apparently, they couldn't agree terms. Thank you very much. Okay. Appreciate that. Mark, you are acting like letting Rashford go on loan for half his wages is going to allow us to sign a striker. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I've never said that. What I've said is loaning Rashford now saves time on negotiating for 2 months. It frees up some wages, and it's the most logical thing to do so that he's not on pre-season for, causing toxicity with Amorim, who doesn't want him to be there. If we get rid of Rashford, it doesn't mean we sign a striker. We just need to get rid of Rashford. Let's talk about Jadon Sancho very quickly. Oh, depressing. So depressing. So depressing. So basically a load of shit updates coming in about Rashford from Italy, about swap deals with Vlahovic, about Juventus being desperate to sign him but don't want to pay his wages. I would file the Sancho stories this morning under absolute shite. I mean, again, just another boring player that I don't see as a Man United player that I wish would just piss off. Corriere dello Sport are saying that Juventus director is described as vigorously pursuing a move for Sancho, but the club are hesitant about the huge wages, but are in very hot contacts with his entourage. Man United want a permanent sale, but Juventus want a loan with an option to buy or an obligation based on certain circumstances. I mean, this just makes no sense. This is just a little bit like somebody writing the biggest, crappiest piece of fiction in the world. How can we have an obligation to buy on a player that's contract's up at the end of the year? So he goes to Juventus, he does quite well, and then United go, remember that obligation to buy? And then Juventus go, he's out of contract, do one. Like, how can you have an obligation to buy on a player that's got 1 year left on his contract? I mean, it's just, I don't know whether people just take football fans for stupid. The Sancho story, to me, is boring me to tears, really. I don't understand why anybody would pay a transfer fee for him. I don't understand why he would want anybody to pay a transfer fee for him. The guy is very, very much out for himself, as we've seen time and time and time again. He has 1 year left on his contract. He's on very, very good wages. If he sits on his arse for a year, he gets paid those wages, and in a year's time, nobody has to pay anything for him apart from whoever gets him on a free, and then he'll get very good wages again. I don't understand why he would take a pay cut to sign a new contract with somebody so that Man United can get a transfer fee when he can just sit there, do nothing, run his contract down, get a loan deal, and be in a much better situation. But we're still talking. I mean, how do you do a swap deal for Vlahovic? Sancho's worth is about 15 million quid. So how does a swap deal work? It's just, it's frying my brain, this Sancho story. But again, there's a running theme this morning. We're negotiating on Sancho. How many weeks are we going to be doing this? We're negotiating on Antony. We're negotiating on Rashford. We're negotiating on Sancho. Add Garnacho into that equation. That's 4 complex negotiations that could run for weeks. And we hardly have enough people to work on an Mbeumo deal. All those negotiations on players that we just need to cut our losses on and get rid of so we can bring new players in. It's so frustrating. We don't have enough people for this work. We certainly don't have enough competent people for this work. So if I'm negotiating with multiple parties on Sancho, I'm wasting time. If I'm negotiating with Barcelona on Rashford, I'm wasting time. If I'm negotiating with Betis and Antony, I'm wasting time because they all take time. And what we really need to be doing is getting Onana out the club so we can get a goalkeeper, getting a striker into the football club. These are the things that really matter. Building the future, not prolonging the past. And that's basically what a lot is going on at the moment. It's basically July and we're still talking about maybe doing stuff with sales that really... And look, I do have sympathy in a certain sense that, you know, it says a lot about the character of these players. I mean, look, somebody should pay for these crimes against Manchester United. All these silly contracts that we've handed out. Are you telling me that these players were absolutely fine with great mentality and then they came to Man United and turned into lazy mercenaries? Every one of these players, Garnacho, Sancho, Rashford, Antony, Onana, Rasmus, you know, whoever, if they've been told they're not part of the plans, then June should have been, I pay you to be my agent, get me a move. All I want in the second week of July is to be at my new club pre-season ready to go. I'm a footballer. I'm a professional footballer. All I want and all I'm asking of you is I want to be in my new club in the middle of July. I don't want to be turning up to Carrington like a spare part, signing for a new club in August, weeks behind everybody else because I haven't had a proper pre-season. I want to play football. If Man United don't want me, I want to be somewhere by the middle of July, having a proper pre-season at a club that does. Unfortunately, we don't seem to have anybody that has that mentality at the moment. And that really reflects badly on the football club because we should have picked up on these personalities before we even bought them. And we clearly haven't done it. We clearly haven't prioritised the right mentalities, because I don't understand why some of these players just sat there chilling, thinking, if it takes till the end of August, it takes till the end of August. I'll run my contract down. Which is why I'm hoping that Rashford's pushing Barcelona, because I would respect that. I would respect the fact that he wants to just get on with his career. And we should let him do it, because we're not going to get the money. They can't, because Rashford's got to go, says Bees. What if Marcus, Brian and Cunha make it work? Oh, God. Mate, you've just wasted everybody's oxygen there. 44 Mad says, what if Rashford, Brian and Cunha make it work as a front three? Do you not listen to anything? Do you just have the voice in your head saying, do? What about Amorim doesn't want Rashford at the club? Do you not understand? What about Rashford doesn't want to be at Man United that you don't understand? He doesn't want to be here. They don't want him here. He doesn't want to be here. Remove Rashford as part of our future. Yeah. Slightly frustrated. Normally I loved the show last night, and I'm sure the 8 o'clock show will be good. But I've got to say, I'm sort of coming out of this show quite with a bit of a headache. Not caused by you. Not caused by you. Because sometimes it's not therapy, it's a conversation. And you sometimes start a conversation, and at the end of the conversation, you learn something you didn't know. And I feel enlightened to the fact that although I am concerned about the summer transfer window and how slow we're being, I'm actually waking up to the realities. The fantasy has disappeared. The hope is gone. We're not going to have a striker in for pre-season because we can't do a deal in 4 weeks. And I know how slow United's negotiation team is and how crap we are at working on more than one deal. And the fact is, we're clearly negotiating Sancho, and that's going to take ages. Rashford, and that's going to take ages. Garnacho, and that's going to take ages. And Antony is going to take ages. So we're working on 4 deals that are just going to take us away from trying to get an Onana out, trying to get Casemiro out, trying to get a striker in. It is what it is. It's just not moving quick enough, and we're getting bogged down with incompetence. We're not in control of this transfer window at the moment. We can change it, but we're clearly not in control of it at the moment. Things need to start moving very quickly. I mean, hopefully they can. Hopefully they can. But there is a hell of a lot to do, and there's not a lot of time. And don't fall into the trap of August the 31st. If you're doing deals in August, the season started. And if you're doing deals in August when the season started, you've failed the manager. The pre-season was a massive part of next season. We can always change the formation, says Keel. Tusha says, this happens because United give players too long to perform. If it's not working in the second season, you sell them. We keep the third season and then cry. But we have to keep them for the third season, to be fair, Tusha, because they're on such big wages, nobody will buy them. This is the biggest problem we have. Zandrum says, we needed good players, and mixing these bad behaviour players with players who want to play will spoil them as well. We need to be fast on outgoings. Great point. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Take care. We're back at 2 o'clock. We've also got an 8 o'clock show as well. Thank you very much this morning, as per usual. Get your comments in if you didn't watch live, and I'll speak to you on the next one. Take care. Have a great day.